Okay. Welcome. We got people come in. John's playing the blues. I'm Julie. This is John. We're both Finns. Look, Rosalind has a guitar. That's exciting. Hi, Corey. Hi, Samuel. And hi, Sandy. And hi, Jane.
Hi there.
Good to see everyone. We're excited for an awesome night of blues. Not too much crying, hopefully. Right? All right, it's
Yeah,
gonna be
there will
fun.
be no references to southbound trains or or drinking in some crosstown bar or any of that stuff. It's just kind of all about playing guitar and trying to get better at it.
Instrumental blues.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Or do you know what one blues guitar player? You know what it said in the blues guitar player's gravestone?
Oh no, are
It
you gonna
said-
tell blues guitar dad
Yeah,
jokes?
it's blues guitar dad joke. You know what it said on on the blues guitarist gravestone? It said, "I didn't wake up this morning.
Oh no, because it's supposed to say, I
Oh,
woke
no.
up this morning.
I woke up this morning."
Rode out of
No,
bed.
right. All right, this is gonna be fun.
All right, you want to play a little blues while people are coming in?
Sure.
All right. You first, John.
Julie, take it away.
I gotta let people in. I'm gonna do a cut. Gonna let someone in. trail there.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, welcome everyone.
All right.
We might still have some people trickling in as we move along, but welcome, and we're so happy you're here. We're so excited to talk about the blues, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have some ground rules.
Yes. Okay. So, essentially, we're gonna like the whole thing. We've got roughly 90 minutes laid out for this whole process. What we were thinking, we have an awful lot of material to get through, and so there's we kind of feel like that there's a couple of ground rules that might be good for us to implement for those of you that aren't really familiar with how Zoom works. So there's a couple of things. So during the first hour or so, we're probably just kind of make our presentation. It's unlikely. We may stop once or twice for questions, but probably not. We're probably going to wait to the end to field any questions. So along the way, if you do have any questions, what I would say is write them down, and then save them, because we've got, oh, there you go. So Steve Martina is all ready. So
right on.
So what I would say is, if there's any we want to get to everybody.
Yeah. We want to answer questions.
But we've publicized this quite a bit, so we really have no sense yet of how many people are going to come. So Zoom will accommodate up to, I think, 100 before it starts throwing people off, something like that.
Yeah,
I don't think we're going to get quite that many, but what we've got enough material that we feel pretty strongly that our best option is to just kind of
barrel through.
Just kind of barrel through everything, and then start fielding questions towards the end. The other thing I was going to what was else? Do you have the thing in?
I printed it out. It's in the house.
Oh.
The other thing is, we hate to even say this, but there might be people we don't know, and if they act crazy, then we have to give them the boot. So if there's anything inappropriate, or if somebody Zoom bombs us, they're just going to get the kick out.
Yeah.
I don't know if that happens anymore, but everyone here seems super cool and respectful, and we're grateful for that. So I don't think we'll have any trouble.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so that was it. What we were going to say, if there was a bunch of people here that we don't know, we were going to sort of say, we reserve the right to throw you out for any reason because we can. So
right.
I think we know most of the people, either most or all the people here, so I'm not expecting that. So that's cool. So I guess the next thing is, starting next week, we're going to be doing a 5-week-long online course called Blues Building Blocks. So basically, what it is it's just an approach to playing blues that's more about learning the nuts and bolts of how it works. So that course, because it's 5 weeks, it's a pretty deep dive. So the course itself is $250 for 5 1-hour sessions that will happen like during this time frame. So Sunday, 7 o'clock.
7 to 8.
7 to 8.
Eastern.
Eastern, and so with that, you'll get tons and tons of material to work on. Lots of ideas in terms of ways to practice blues, and because we're not expecting to get hundreds and hundreds of people to come, it'll be a good opportunity to sort of target your blues playing a little bit, and sort of engage in a back and forth about your playing. So the format will really sort of encourage you to actually dig in and do some work. So if you're interested, Julie, I think we have a link on julifin.com.
Yeah. And I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah. So Julie's going to put that in the chat. also a little bit later on we have we have some PDFs that we've made up for today's course. Today's course is going to be more or less an introduction into that type of way of approaching things. So, if you like it and you get a lot out of it, great. If you think you want to go deeper, the course might be a good way to go. So, tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the mechanics of how some typical blues chord progressions work, ways to play rhythm guitar, suggestions about lead guitar, and then the different types of blues chord progressions. So we've got licks, we've got rhythm guitar parts, we've got scales.
Tons of scales.
Yeah.
Turnarounds.
Turnarounds, and cool licks written by Julie. So
I made some licks, man.
yeah.
All right, but first we're going to show you. Oh, here comes someone else. Oh, John was here, and then he wasn't, and now he's back.
Yeah. First there is a mountain, then there is no mountain, then there is. Anybody remember that song?
I've never heard that song, John.
Okay.
Does it pertain to the blues?
No, not really.
All right. All right, so I have my our workshop scheduled to premiere on my website at 8 p.m. I did it at 8 accidentally instead of 7, and I don't know how to fix it. So as soon as that is up, I will put the link in the chat. But we have this beautiful 21-page booklet we're going to share with you at the end of the session today. We're just going to go right down the list, and hopefully if you have any questions, like John said, we'll just take care of those at the end.
Yeah.
But if you get to the point where you're like, what the heck is going on? I have no idea what's going on. Then raise your hand. We'd be happy to answer it if it's an emergency.
Yeah. If the class is small enough that I think if there's something that comes along that you feel like not understanding this might prevent you from being able to know what to do next, then that might be a good, But so if you can, save the questions, write them down, ask later. Or if you need to, ask during the class.
Yep.
All right.
But we're going to talk first about the actual chord progression called, oh, hold on, someone might be coming in. Okay, there we go. It's called the 12-bar blues. The reason why it's the 12-bar blues is because it's 12 bars.
Yeah.
What a surprise. All right. So you don't necessarily need to know everything there is to know about music theory, but there's 3 chords in particular that you want to pay attention. One is the 1 chord, then we have the 4 chord, and then we have the 5 chord.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that kind of comes up, and part of what led us to kind of working on this material, is that if you know a little bit about rock and guitar and improvisation, very often you pretty quickly figure out that all you really need to know is that it's 3 chords and that you can just play a minor pentatonic scale over all of it and sound pretty good. Mm-hmm. Okay? But then, so that's kind of step 1. And then you start pretty quickly realizing that some of the really great blues players might be doing those mechanics, but there's something else about what they're doing that isn't exactly that. It's not so much what they're doing as much as it is when they're doing it.
Right, that's the key.
So, and I've been to lots and lots of open mic blues jams, and people who were, going to those jams, they sound, a lot of them sound great, but sometimes they'll kind of show up and kind of do the same thing over and over and over, and their improvisations aren't really going anywhere. And then I found myself kind of stepping up on stage and doing kind of the same thing, and then going, "Wait a minute,
let's take a look into
let me take a step back." And that's
happening.
So that's kind of what has inspired this. It has been, just trying to see if there's a way to explain how this works. That's very much like a Lego building blocks kind of an approach. Do this first, do this second, do this third, do this fourth. And if you approach each of those steps one after another, you'll find that the things that you play will tend to sound more coherent. And I think that that's really kind of what we're after. Is we want to sound good. Raise your hand if you want to sound good. I want to sound good. Right. So.
You already sound good. No fair.
Well, that's so depends on what day it is.
All right. So John has written out this wonderful rhythm, and I'm sure you've all heard it before, but you can see that the first 4 bars are all the one chord. Now, if you're not used to seeing chord sheets like this, we've got the name of the chord right up here. This is the standard notation, and then we have the tablature. Does everybody feel comfortable with this chart to take a look at? Okay, good. So the first 4 bars are the one chord, which is G7. Then for bars 4 and 5, or 5 and 6, we move to the 4 chord, which is C7.
If we're in G, yeah.
If we're in G, and we are in the key of G, even though the key signature doesn't say it.
Yeah, I just didn't indicate a key signature in any of these.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You can pretty much assume it's in the key of G if the first chord in the blues is G7, right?
Yep.
Okay. So then when you get to bars 7 and 8, we're back to the 1. Then bar 9 is the 5. Bar 10 is back to the 4. And then we have this neat thing called the turnaround. All right, so there it gets a little bit funky if you're not used to it, but there are many of wonderful turnaround licks. We're going to show you some of those today. But in theory, our G minor pentatonic scale, which we probably, most of us know, this shape, right? A lot of people think I can just play the minor pentatonic scale over all of this, and I'm good.
And it will kind of work, yeah.
It will kind of work, yep. So if you find yourself thinking like that, and then you think at the end, maybe that wasn't as fulfilling as it could have been, there's a reason why. Yeah,
so one of the things that I think is interesting about the standard 12-bar blues chord progression is the fact that the first 4 measures you're playing one chord and holding it. Then for the next set of 4 bars, you're playing two chords, one chord for every 2 measures. So in other words, in bars 5 through 8, the chords are changing twice as often as they were in the first 4 bars.
That's called harmonic rhythm.
Yes. Then on bars 9 and 10, now you're changing chords 1 measure per chord. And then for the last 2 measures, when you get to the turnaround, you're essentially playing 1 chord per beat. Now, those chords, I want to just talk about this very quickly. So the chords are G7, G7 over B, C, D7, D flat 7, then D7, E flat 7. So, so the thing, very few blues guitar players will actually play those chords outright. What's more likely is that one guitar player will play while the other one might play. So I'll play the low one, you play the high. Okay. 2, 3, 4.
Oh wait.
You play the higher one.
I'm playing the higher
one.
2, 3, 4.
So just play G.
Oh, G.
Yeah.
No wonder I'm in A. I'm sorry. I was in another land.
Yeah, so. Okay. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3,
sorry, guys.
4. So you see how that works is that the 2 lines taken together so to end up forming the essence of those chords. Okay.
Beautiful.
So I wrote them in the chart, but they're actually not meant to be played. That's just to explain conceptually. So the overall thing is that as the chord progression goes along, how often the chords changes gradually increases. So when we learn to improvise over it, that's something that I think is worth paying attention to.
Right.
And in particular, the turnaround is an important piece of information. And the way I see it is that playing an effective turnaround while you're playing blues is a bit like musical punctuation. In my head, what I tend to do when I'm improvising is I'll start playing and then I'll be thinking about what turnaround I want to play before I even get there. And then everything I play after that kind of aims for that turnaround. And then when I play the turnaround, essentially what I'm doing is I'm saying to the audience, myself, and to the band, it's like, okay, folks, I'm done with this idea and I'm about to clear the deck and start a new idea.
Right.
You know, so
That's basically what it says.
Yeah. So being able to know when the turnaround comes and having an effective turnaround to play, and playing it articulately is part of the key to playing this style really well. It's one of those things. It's simple, but you'd be surprised at how difficult it is to really implement that while you're trying to just sort of off the top of your head kind of improvise and sort of let things fly. You know, because when you're playing a turnaround, you actually have to kind of stop improvising and then find something to play, and then play that, and then continue moving. So
that's why we wrote it like that in the chart. I think
Yeah.
a lot of times you'll see the 11th measure be the 1, and then the 12th be the 5.
yeah,
But John likes to add all those fun things
yeah,
because he's
I
John.
like to. Well,
All right.
So, you want to play this one?
No matter what, though, no matter what key you're in, the first 4 bars of your blues will be the 1. The next 4 will be the 4, then the 1, and then we have 5, 4, then the turnaround.
Yeah.
Always, always, always. That's why it's called the standard 12-bar blues. So no matter what key, again, I'll just say that. So John also wrote this really cool rhythm.
Yeah.
If you want to, do you want to talk about the rhythm?
So the rhythm. So this is just this is a very commonly used rhythm guitar part for this style. It's not always used, but it's very often. So I'm going to play through it. You want to play through it with me?
Yeah. Let's
Okay.
play
So
together.
1 and 2 and 3
We're in G.
and 4. 2. You can play along. 3. 4. Here comes the 4 chord. 3, 4, 4 chord. Back to the 1 chord and go. 5 chord. 4 chord.
I'll do the high.
Okay, and then the turnaround. Okay.
All right. Do you guys get it? It's kind of fun, right? Okay,
Yeah.
good.
It's actually
a classic.
pretty simple, but it's worth knowing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you're sitting in with a blues band, if there's already somebody else doing that rhythm part, which there very often will be, sometimes it's good to have something else to do that kind of gives you a reason for being there. So
That takes us to.
yeah, this takes us to the standard 12-bar blues rhythm guitar part number 2. Now,
I like this one better.
essentially the way that this one works is that the part number 1, you're playing the root and the 5th of the chord, 1 and 5, and then alternate between 1 and 5 and 1 and 6. Okay.
Right?
Now, this part, the rhythm guitar part number 2, you're playing the notes F and B, which are the 7th and 3rd of the G7th chord.
Very cool, right?
Okay, so it's a slightly different way to think. Instead of thinking of chord shapes and chord grips like you would see in a music book, you know, now we're thinking about like what are the notes in the chord, where are they, and what might be an effective way to play them. So if I play root and 5th, and then Julie plays F and B, which are the 7th and 3rd of the chord. Okay, between the two of us, we've got all the notes of a G7 chord. So she's gonna. So this rhythm part is just simply 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. So that's the 4 measures of G7. Now, when we go from G7 to C7, we're using a technique called voice leading, and what that means is we're going to find the closest notes to these previous ones. So we're going to do that by taking both of these notes and putting them down a half step. So when Julie plays those notes and I play C and G, those are all the notes that you need for a C7 chord.
They kind of flip-flop. So now we have the 3rd on the bottom and the 7th on the top.
Yeah, where it was the opposite over the G7 chord, right? But to get that, you go from here to here for the C7 chord.
It's pretty cool.
And then back up for the G7 chord.
So we're back to there again.
And then up a half step for the 5 chord. Then down a whole step for the C7 for the 4 chord. Okay?
Now turn
then
around.
the turnaround. So it's pretty cool when you have 2 guitar players playing together. So 2, 3, 4. Turnaround. So now you can see that
Sounds like the blues.
Yeah, sounds like it sounds like the blues now, doesn't it? You know, sounds like I don't know what's a good blues town.
A blues town.
Memphis.
Memphis.
It's Memphis, yeah.
I'd say Memphis.
We're in Memphis now. No, we're not.
Texas,
really, but...
somewhere in Texas too.
Yeah. Maybe Chicago. Maybe
Is
Chicago.
that Chicago blues?
Yeah.
All right. So the next layer we're going to add onto our standard 12-bar blues is a simple solo.
So, one of the things that I think is kind of important is that when you're improvising, you can start with scales if you want to, and that works fine, but the potential booby trap that you might fall into is that if you're thinking about scales while you're improvising, guess what's going to come out? It's going to sound like you're playing scales. Why? Because you're thinking about scales. So when I practice improvising, one of the things that I want to be able to do is I want the improvisation to sound like it's a fully formed musical idea as it comes out. And that's incredibly difficult to do because if I'm really being in the moment, then I don't really know what I'm going to play next, right? But if I, if you want to, if you don't know how to improvise, an easy way to practice it is to make up a story on the spot and tell it to a 5-year-old kid, right? And have the story kind of come out like it makes some kind of a sense, I learned this when my kids were 5, and I had to tell them I had to tell them bedtime stories like every night. And
they do like the same ones too.
Yeah, and you tell the same story 100 times. After a while, it's, oh God, give me a break. So I started making up stories, but then I found okay, so one day there was a captain of a ship, and he sailed across the ocean, and as he was sailing across the ocean, he landed on an island, and then as he landed on the island, there was an earthquake, and out of the earthquake became, so you start making that stuff up, and you start realizing, oh boy, I'm starting to write myself into a hole here.
How is he going to get out of this island?
Right. So when I'm improvising, I kind of want a similar amount of coherence to come out of it. So. Here we put together a standard 12-bar blues solo number 1. So this is just a simple melody that's easy to play and sounds roughly like it's in the blues style.
Yeah. So if you've never actually improvised a blues, then this is a wonderful way to start.
Yeah. So what
Just
you do is
learn one that's already exists.
Yeah. So learn what that already exists, and then from there, what you do is you start making small changes to it. right?
Yeah.
So kind
Maybe
of this,
rhythm or
yeah,
change
like
a
yeah,
note here and there.
yeah, change some of the notes, change some of the rhythms. Okay, so
Do you want? I'll play the rhythm, and you want to
Okay.
play the lead.
all right,
Okay.
all right, here we go. So play along if you want to, but just leave yourself muted. Okay, so here you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now this time I'm going to do the same thing, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to play essentially the same solo that you just heard. Okay, but I'm going to make some small changes to the notes and to some of the rhythms. Not a lot. It's going to sound mostly the same, but it's not going to be exactly the same.
Right.
So 1 and 2 and 3. Ah. Okay, I'm going to go around again. Okay, one more time. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So, I'm what I'm hoping is that you can see is what I did was I started by just playing the solo exactly as is, and then as I progress, I'm just making small changes to that solo. Instead of thinking, it's like every solo has to be completely different, or every one of them has to go in a completely different direction, or I just have to use a different part of the scale or whatever. All I'm doing is making small changes to an already existing solo that I've learned how to play.
Yeah.
So, do you want to try one?
Yeah. I'll play yours, and then I'll try my own.
Okay, so here's what happens when Julie does the same thing. Now, what's so cool about this is that she's going to come up with something totally different than what I did. And that's kind of what we wanted you to hear.
That's what the blues is.
Yeah.
Really. We
Yeah,
all have
you
the
just
same set of notes, the
yes.
same chords.
Exactly. Start with the thing, and then just keep making changes to it.
Right. It's super fun.
Okay?
Ready?
So, yeah, you count me in.
1, 2, 3, 4. I gotta let someone in real quick.
One more time.
Ooh, banshee.
Thank you.
That was fun, John.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for
Yeah.
writing such
Yeah,
a
yeah,
sweet
yeah.
little piece. All right, so I hope that you guys will learn that and play. Does anybody have a looper? I know Boomer has one. Steve does. It's a great opportunity to just put those rhythms in, play along. GarageBand. You can get GarageBand for your phone too.
Yeah.
All right, guess what? We have another blues. This is the semi-standard 12-bar blues.
Yeah, so this is a good, this is a cool little variation. Blues players often call this the quick four. And essentially what it means is it's exactly the same chord progression as a standard. The only difference is that you play the 4 chord on the second bar. So 1 chord for the first bar, 4 chord for the second bar,
This little
1
guy.
chord for bars 3 and 4.
Just
So-
adds a little touch of flavor.
Yeah, and then
Adds
the
a
rest
little
of
different feel.
yeah, and then the rest of it's the same.
And as you can see, what we've got here, the same rhythm. We're going to just move this all up a whole step.
Yeah,
So our 1 chord is now the 5th fret.
yeah, A7
The 4,
essentially.
the 4 chord is also the 5th fret, and then the 5 will be the E on the 7th fret.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and for the time being, we use the same. We're going to use the same turnaround, just up a whole step, and then tempo-wise, we're just going to play it a little faster.
Would you call it quick? Are we going to play it quick?
We're going to play it quick.
All right.
We're going to play the quick 4.
Quick.
Quick.
Four. I like that word. Okay. Ready, guys, in your A? Good.
Okay, so what do you think for tempo? So,
Okay.
so 1, 2, let's
Skiddly,
skiddly
skiddly
do,
do.
and
See how the 4 feels good right there in the second bar?
4 chord, 1 chord, 5 chord, 4 chord, turn around. Again, 1 chord, 4 chord, 1 chord. If you're familiar with Statesboro Blues, this is exactly the chords to Statesboro Blues. 5 chord, 4 chord, 1. Okay,
That was fun.
yeah.
I like the quick
Thank you.
4.
Okay, so you want to have a look at the at the.
Yeah, guess what? We
So-
got some more stuff here.
Okay, so now rhythm guitar part 2 is very similar to rhythm guitar part 1, except that the rhythm is a little bit different. Okay, so the concept is the same. When you're playing 1 and 5 for guitar 1, you're playing 7 and 3 for guitar part 2. Okay, but in the previous version, you played the same rhythm for every measure, right? 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So here, It's
Look
a
at that little
2-measure
rest.
rhythm. Yeah. So 2,
Yeah.
3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 4 chord. 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4. Turn around. I'll play guitar 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh shoot.
1, 2, 3, 4. Again. So you can see how just adding that extra little rhythm thing just kind of puts a whole different spin on it, right?
I know. An eighth
So,
note.
yeah.
Who'da thunk?
Who'd thunk?
That's cool. All right, guess what? We like formulas.
Yeah. So
John made another little solo. This is
So-
called solo number 2.
yeah. So again, same idea. Here's a different solo. Start with this solo. But what I would say is, if you're not familiar with this, if you're familiar with the concept, then just kind of, just kind of run with some of the ideas. But if you're learning how to improvise, this is a great way to start. Learn it exactly, and then work on doing, just small variations along the way. Because that's a great way to get you started. To get a great way to get you to think in terms of phrases, right? When you're expressing yourself verbally, you don't just spill out every word you can think of. You actually think about which words you're going to use and in what order.
That's right.
So,
It's very important.
so this is kind of
It's a
that.
conversation.
Okay, so do you want to? Which?
I could play it.
Okay,
I'll try
all
it.
right.
I'll
So-
attempt it.
Okay, so do you want to do the variations, or do you want to just play it once and then?
I'll
do
play
that?
it once. I think
Okay.
it's important to.
Okay, so we're just gonna
that's it.
play it once first.
Okay. Bear with me. I hope I don't mess it up.
She won't mess it up. Julie's never made a mistake ever. So.
Wow.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2,
Blinded
3,
by love.
and.
Shoot. Oh, we keep going?
Yeah.
Did I do okay? I did mess up. I messed up in the one chord again. Should I try it again?
Yeah.
It'd be nice to
Okay.
get it nice.
So, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I did mess
Yeah.
it up again. That's all right. That's all right.
Okay. So you want to try the variations?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll play a little variation of this.
Okay.
I already was.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything goes. All right.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3, and.
right. That's fun.
I think I want to try something.
Sure.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to improvise a solo, and then after I'm done improvising, what Julie and I are going to play rhythm guitar through an entire chorus. And so for those of you that feel
should say
comfortable
what a
doing
chorus
it,
is. Does everyone know what a chorus is?
so a chorus is just a complete set of 12 bars.
That's called a chorus.
So starting from the one chord, ending on the turnaround. So as soon as you hear the turnaround, that's the end of your chorus.
Okay, good.
And that's actually the function of the. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna improvise a chorus. All right, I'll start by just playing the solo exactly. Okay, then Julie and I are gonna play rhythm guitar, and that will be your cue to play along with our track.
Right on.
Okay, but leave yourself muted because we all know that with the
Latency.
with the latency, it's going to be cacophony if we
We would
do
love
otherwise.
to hear all of you.
So, ooh, look at that! Sandy's got
Her ook.
wow, look at that! It looks bigger than normal.
Oh, maybe. Is that a bass?
Is that a bass ook? Okay. Anyway, okay, so here we go.
It's all right. Ready? Okay. So John will play, and then.
It's my uke.
Okay.
Nice.
Good.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, and. Your turn.
Let's
My
do it
turn.
again. Oh.
Your turn.
Everybody's having fun.
One last time through the cycle. Your turn. Steve Marchand is over there playing slide.
Wish we could hear you guys.
Here we go.
2, 3, 4, 1.
Okay.
All right, guys. Wow, that was great. By the look on your faces, you were really bluesing. Okay, now we have some options of some turnarounds. So what I did was I just wrote out 3 different turnarounds and I just put them in 2 keys. Hence the title, 3 blues turnarounds in 2 keys.
Wow.
So all of them start with the chord on beat 1, I think. Yep. And then we have a little fun little doodad. And I really do love triplets, so hopefully that doesn't bug you. But it's pretty fun. So let me zoom in a little bit. Can you guys see that okay? You'll get copies of this too. All right, so our first one is in E, which we haven't done anything in E just yet. So I'll play it real slow. classic one with those nice open strings.
Yeah.
So I really like in measure 1 how we have these kind of dissonant triplets here. And that one is. All right, you can do just B7 if you want. I like B9. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
All right, now the second one, we start with the E7. And then we have this cool little slidey thing. I just slide on each group of 2 eighth notes. I just slide on the first one. Oh, this I put, somehow it came up as tap instead of a hammer on. This is actually just a hammer on.
Yeah.
Let me try it again.
I saw that, Steve.
Steve Martina could do that. Okay. So 2, 3, 4. All right, cool. So now the next one, it's very similar to our first one, except we're doing these double stop figures. So we're going to play these together. 2, 3, 4. Oh shoot, I went to the wrong one. Let me try it again. 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so by the way, I'm playing open E, then 4th fret, then 5th, then 6th, then 7th. So A, E, G sharp, A, B flat, B.
So there you got
Okay.
another turnaround.
So that kind of adds to the flavor of playing that underneath what she's doing.
All right, now we're going to move up to the A7, and you'll see these are all what we just did, but in another key. So let's try, when I play it on the A7, I just keep my finger barred on that 5th fret. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now the next one will have the little slidey guys. 2, 3, 4. All right, and the last one, the double stops. 2, 3, 4. They're all pretty fun. Do you want to try them in a blues? Let's try A, and let's try this last one. So let's just play the rhythm part all the way through in our A blues.
Should we do the standard or quick 4?
What do you guys think?
Quick 4?
Ooh,
Okay, Boomer
everybody's
says
into
quick
the
4.
4. Okay.
Okay.
So I want you guys to all do a turnaround. Don't worry about anything else. Just play the rhythm and make sure you can plug in that turnaround because that's the best part.
Yeah.
Okay. 1.
Now, also, if you want to, what you can do is you can practice improvising and then put one of these turnarounds in at the turnaround spot. So the trick there is to concentrate enough to know when the turnaround's coming, stop everything you're doing,
That's hard.
play the turnaround. Okay?
Feel free.
So,
I mean, choose improvisation or choose rhythm.
yeah, either way is fine.
But don't miss the turnaround.
Exactly.
Okay.
Don't miss the turnaround.
And I'm going to do this little guy here. Okay.
Yeah.
Are we going to do the quick 4, Boomer?
Quick 4. Yeah, Boomer says quick 4.
But I know, but quick 4. So, ding, da, ding, da, ding, da, ding,
Yeah.
dum,
Oh,
ba, dum,
like so.
ba, dum. Okay, medium quick 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
Back to the 1. 4. And 1. 5. 4. Turn around. Awesome. I hope you got it. Oh, John's doing some fun things. Oh, I see people getting their turnarounds in. Good job. Who loves playing with John playing rhythm? I do. Was that it? Okay,
think
that
so.
was cool.
Yeah.
Nice work, everybody.
So that's the other thing. So that's the other thing is that also with rhythm guitar playing, I think it's important to know when you have room to kind of mess around with some different things, and when you don't. Okay, so I don't know if any of you noticed, but when I started kind of going off the reservation a little bit and playing some other kind of chordy kind of fills, but part of why I was able to do that was because Julie was driving the truck straight down the middle, like because she's playing.
Solid.
Okay, so those are the four wheels keeping the vehicle on the like sort of centered down the lane, right?
Right.
And then this other stuff is kind of hanging out the windows a little bit, going, "Look at me, look at me," So,
Well, that's the key.
yeah,
As long as you have that nice solid rhythm, then you can float over it.
yeah,
That's fun.
exactly, yeah.
All right. So, what else have we got, John?
E minor 8-bar blues.
Okay, this is altogether different, but as you can see, we still have a 1 chord. We have a 4, or sorry, a 5, a 4, a 1, and then a break.
Yeah.
So in this case, this is modeled after the song Ain't No Sunshine. The break brings us back. That's our turnaround. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's just going to be,
Yeah, so the first thing is that is learning that not all blues tunes are exactly 12-bar blues. In fact, some are 14 bars, some are 10, some are 13. I think there's a song that that the Allman Brothers did on the live at Fillmore East, a song called "You Don't Love Me," which unless I'm mistaken, I think it's a 27-bar blues.
wow.
It's the weirdest thing because they have like several phrases in it that are 5 measures long. So if you actually sit and count the measures, like you get done counting the measures, it's like, what? But
in the world.
but
it
when
feels
you
good.
listen to it, yeah.
I love that song.
Here's a 5 chord. 2, 3, and 1. And there's the top of the form again.
That's
So,
wild.
yeah, I don't know if I can't remember if it's 27 bars, but it's some weird number of bars that I didn't, I'd have to go back and count to figure it out exactly what it is. But the point is, blues progressions don't always have to be 12 bars. So this one is a good example of the 8-bar blues. So here
One
it
thing
just
though,
goes.
is
Go
this
ahead.
supposed to be the 7th fret? Is that an F? Do you want that to be an
No,
E?
that should be an E.
Okay.
So the last chord should be an E minor. So
Just
ignore.
one note. Okay.
Yeah, ignore the phantom chord that some Russian hacker came in and moved that E to an F. So
John, don't blame the Russians.
oh, sorry. What was I thinking? Okay, so anyway, so 1, 2, 3, and 1. 5 chord, 4 chord, 1 chord. Okay, Julie, want to try?
Sure.
So 1, 2, 3, and. Two, three, and. So, as you can see, the break in this kind of serves as the turnaround. It serves a similar function as the turnaround, is probably the best way to say it.
It's like, and we're going to the top.
Yeah. You know, so you hear top, right? So, yeah, so you notice
love
that,
it.
like, even though, like, Julie played a very different solo than I did, you know, she very aware of where she is in the chord progression is able to find things to play that pretty effortlessly reflect where she's at in in it. So it's not just the great tone, it's not just all the chops, it's not just all, it's also the thoughtfulness of choosing what to play.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Okay, so we're actually kind of we're kind of zeroing in. So do you want to move on to the next thing?
we've got a real quick overview of a jazz blues.
Yeah. So,
This is really an overview, so it's really difficult to kind of go into jazz blues here, but we thought we would just introduce it because it gives such a different flavor. But as you can see, we've got 1 chord, 4 chord, 1 chord.
so far it's pretty much like a quick 4, and then it goes completely off the reservation after that.
Yeah. So, but you know, there's a turnaround also.
Yeah.
So in form, it's quite similar. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and that was the reason why I brought it up, is that when you hear this, it's going to sound like a jazzy kind of a tune, right? But if you've got an ear for it, you'll start to be able to distinguish that there's a lot of similarities between this and other things that we've been doing. You know, so that's the part I want you to realize, is that, you know, that same 12-bar blues format is sort of disguised and embedded into this thing.
Yeah, I think it was built upon each other.
Yeah.
In a way, so I think you'll find it cool. All right, you want to try it?
Yeah.
Oop, okay, I like this one. Okay, I'm good.
So do it slow first.
Yeah.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4. the 4 chord. And here's a thing called sharp 4 diminished. C7 or F7. A minor 7 to D7. G minor 7. And an inversion. C7 and another inversion. And here's the turnaround. Okay, so you can sort of hear how that works. Now, if we play it faster, it's probably easier to hear that 12 barness of it.
12 barriness.
Yeah. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Here's the 2/5, 4 chord, sharp 4, 1 chord, A minor 7, D7. Okay, so yeah, so that's it. So jazzy.
Jazz
Okay.
blues.
So if this is something that you want to pursue, this is a pretty good introduction into that. I think it's kind of beyond the scope of this clinic to really dive too much into that.
But what we're going to talk about next is all of the scales that go along with the forms that we've mentioned. Most of you, probably a lot of beginners, not you, I mean some of you are advanced, some of you are intermediate, and some are beginners. But we usually start with this version of the pentatonic scale. And because it's the root, it totally makes sense. So we've got this nice shape. But an important thing to point out is that there are 5 notes in the scale, so that gives us 5 different notes to start from when we start the scale, in 5 different shapes, all with those same 5 notes, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, they're kind of set up so that each shape puts you in a different position. It's
Yeah.
the same group of notes. So the first one is, I call it fingering number 5 because, anyway, so. Second one. Third one. And then fourth one. Then the fifth one. See here how I'm playing the same group of notes.
Just starting from a different
But
note
just
and in a different position on the fretboard.
Yeah. So the most commonly used one is that second one in that group.
And we can either start it from the 6th string root or the 5th string root. So this would be the shape that we would use with the root on the 5th string. That would be fingering number 4.
Yeah.
So those were the 2 that I started with, and then once you realize you can play it all the way across the neck, it opens up a whole new world. You know?
Yeah, see, because like if you know all 5 well enough, yeah.
Yeah, you
Oh,
just
here's
go.
somebody. Omar Perez is just coming in.
We
You should
still got a
probably let
little
him in.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's connecting.
Okay.
We'll wait. So let's go through them real quick, John.
Yeah.
In a slower
So
fashion.
Omar, you're just getting here. We started at 7 o'clock Eastern, so we're almost finished with the presentation part of this.
We have been recording it though, so
yeah.
we will send it over to you.
Yeah, but we're gonna be soon be moving over to the question and answer part. So
Yeah.
just hang with
You're
us.
welcome to stay.
Yeah.
Hi. Now we see you.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just go through each of them really slow so that we
Yeah.
can get them all.
Okay.
So this one we're starting on an F sharp. Oh, that's the second fret.
Yes,
Sorry.
that's G.
G. So when I play this fingering, my pinky is getting the A on the 6th string root for the root.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it real slow, up and down a couple
Okay.
times. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Nice, right? Okay, now let's go to fingering number 1, where our first finger will be.
Yeah. And oh, by the way, once you learn the shape, what I would strongly suggest you do is practice the shape and then start practicing it by starting at one of the notes in the middle of the fingering rather than the highest or the lowest.
That's what we gravitate to when we're first starting.
Yeah, because when you first started playing them based on scales, you always start on the lowest note. Then it's almost inescapable that everything you play is going to sound like a scale, and I think you don't want that.
Yeah.
So
good call. Thank you.
So as we just play them this way to learn the scale, but then immediately transform that into. How about if we do this? Let's play the scale once, and then Julie, you can play a couple of phrases that start in the middle.
Okay.
Okay. So, all right. Okay. So here we go.
3 and 4 and.
Okay, I'm gonna play an A minor chord. Yeah. So you see how everything she plays sounds great.
I'm just going up and down.
Yeah.
But I didn't start on the root.
Yeah.
Or the,
Okay,
So.
next one.
next one.
This is called A minor pentatonic fingering number 2.
So we're starting on a C sharp.
C natural.
Oh, C natural. Sorry, C
Yeah,
natural.
it's
It's
okay.
minor. 3 and 4 and.
Okay.
Here's Oz.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
All right. And then the A minor pentatonic fingering 3.
Yep.
This is starting on D.
Yep.
Okay, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and.
And I think that part is important to do, is to take that time and just kind of mess around with that particular fingering so you get familiar with the kind of phrases that it encourages. And that's the cool thing, is if you learn all 5 phrases, each position kind of suggests its own types of phrases.
Yeah. Especially if you feel like you're stuck in a rut with that shape that we
Yeah.
always have.
Then of course the next step after that is to kind of combine them all into one giant fingering.
Then you can go up and down and maybe go up on 2 strings
Yeah.
or go down like 3 octaves. That's kind of fun too. Okay,
Yeah.
3 and 4 and
This is fingering number 4. Good. Right? So that's yeah. So that's all 5 of those fingerings.
Yep. Okay, and we also have more in a different key, so you can kind of see how the shapes are going to transfer.
Yeah, so it's going to be the same shapes, but just all in different positions to put it all in the key of D. So
Yep.
starting at the lowest point in the on the fretboard
We have a
that
G.
you can get it, it starts on G. Then number 4.
Let's try it slow.
Okay.
3 and 4 and
So now we're playing over a D minor chord, right? Yeah.
okay. And now we're going to start. This is where the root will be on the 5th string.
Yeah, with the first finger in 5th position.
3 and 4 and
Okay?
all right.
Yeah.
Fingering number 5. So starting on a C.
Yeah.
3 and 4 and
Yeah.
oh, nice. Wonder where they got that.
Yeah.
All right, now we have our normal, original, what we usually gravitate to. Oh, wait. Okay, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and all right, we know that one. We've heard that one a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, now we have the D minor pentatonic fingering number 2.
Now,
We're starting
also,
on-
as a quick aside, sometimes people will refer to this and think of it as an F major pentatonic. Now, D minor pentatonic and F major pentatonic both contain exactly the same group of notes. So, in this instance, we're thinking of it as D minor pentatonic. So, if one of your questions was, isn't that F major pentatonic? Yes, but that's not how we're using it.
we're using D minor.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you play it and I'll play the D minor and then I'll play the F.
Yeah. Okay, so here's D minor.
I should have your hand shake.
So here's the D. Right?
All right, now here's the F.
notice that that group of notes sounds completely different over a different chord.
And you end it on an F. Play the Fs. See?
Okay? John knows what that is.
He's nodding his head.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So next we have blues scale fingerings. So the blues scale actually has just one extra note.
Yeah. So as a quick explanation, I don't like the term blues scale.
Why not,
but it's,
John?
But it's because it suggests.
Should we talk about it?
Nah. Well, only that the term blues scale suggests that all you need to know is how to play the scale, and then you can play the music. That's not really the case.
But it does add a certain flavor.
But this scale is commonly referred to as a blues scale, and all it really is an a minor pentatonic scale, but with the flat 5 added to the scale. So
let's take a look at this fingering, because this one's the easiest. If you're used to the A minor pentatonic on the 5th fret with the 6-string root, you'll see we're adding one note right here and one note right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll play the A minor.
So here's A blues scale fingering number 1. So 3 and 4 and. So it's that.
Doesn't it sound like this?
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
It's in a different key. Okay, sorry, I went off on a different tangent. So why don't you noodle around and I'll play the A minor. Don't start on the lowest note.
Okay. Have you ever heard that song Take 5?
It's specific. Once you'll get it, you'll hear it in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Why don't we start with fingering number 5 and play them slow?
Okay.
G.
3 and 4 and. Yeah.
We gotta end on the root. All right, here is, we just did fingering 1, so should we skip it? Or do it again?
Let's do that one again.
Okay, 3 and 4 and. Okay, now we're gonna start on the C.
Yeah.
3 and 4 and. Sorry. Can I try that one again?
Yes. 3 and 4 and.
Okay, I messed it up again. I'll just stay out.
Okay. 3 and 4 and.
Okay, I got it. Okay, I did it. Phew.
Yeah.
Okay, now A blues scale fingering number 3. 3 and 4 and.
Sorry.
It's okay, you're getting fancy.
Again.
That's cool.
3
Same
and
one?
4. Yeah. 3 and 4 and. Yeah.
I like having that on the 6th string.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and now the last one, fingering number 4. And we're starting on an E. 3 and 4 and.
Three and 4 and. Yeah. So it's the same kind of texture, but in different ranges across the instrument. So I think it's good if you're trying to get good at this. This would be a good thing to practice. Is pick a key and then just find all the fingerings in each of the positions, so that your ears really know those sounds and your fingers can find them.
And it
You know.
just gives you a fresh, open feel.
Yeah.
Because where your hand is naturally going to gravitate to one particular note on a string, you'll go there in a different shape, and it'll feel different, and it'll
Yeah.
sound different because
Yeah.
it won't be the same degree of the scale.
Yeah.
Okay, now we have all of them in D. So let's try them.
Okay.
We got a couple more minutes.
Okay.
Okay, 3 and 4 and.
Sorry.
That sounds very mysterious. I think the blues scale sounds more jazzy to me, even though it's blues.
Yeah.
All right, fingering number 4, we're starting on the A. 3 and 4 and. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
All of a sudden, I've been looking at this, and then I was looking at the tab, so that threw me out. 3 and 4 and. Much better. There we go.
Do it again.
3 and 4
Just improvise this
and.
time. Yeah.
Nice, John. Okay, we've got D blue starting from a C.
Yeah. So C in the key of D is the flat 7. And the root would be D.
Sounds really funky.
Yeah.
Okay, 3 and 4 and. Nice. I like it. I like it. Okay, now we've got fingering number 1, which we're used to this one.
Yeah.
Starting on the 10th fret. 3 and 4 and. I always go. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, me too.
Did everybody else do that too? Steve did. We gotta add that little thing. Okay, the last one, fingering number 2. We're starting from an F. 3 and 4 and. What did I do? This one gets me every time.
This is hard.
You have a little shift. It's a little funky one, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, 3 and 4 and.
Yeah.
This looks like a. What's happening here? Maybe that's it.
Oh, you know what?
It's not me, it's the little diagram.
It's the diagram. Oh God, that's my fault. I'm so sorry.
No. This is such good news.
What? Oh.
Because I was like, why do I see these wrong? Okay,
Yeah.
I don't though. Okay, I'm gonna look at the notes. Okay, 3 and 4 and.
So, okay, this is me playing it wrong that time.
3
and 4 and.
Ah, that's better. Oh, that was so much better.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, cool. That was just my little mind
Yeah.
thing.
I'll fix that.
Okay, you guys, I have some cool little licks here. They're just kind of in my own style, but I hope that you'll enjoy them. You can add them in or not, or you could build them out of your own scales. A lot of these are like the one chord licks, but I always like these triplets. Okay, now lick number 2. These are all built out of that fingering number 1, minor pentatonic.
Yeah.
As you can see, that is my strongest one. Okay, then we have this other one. I like to bend that note on the 2nd string. Right?
Lovingly referred to as the dwat-dee-dwat-dee-dwat-dee lick.
John knows I like this one. Okay, now this one, it's just going down the scale in triplets.
Yeah.
I like adding these little squiggly lines. Everyone has their own flavor of vibrato. 3 and... Don't forget about the turnaround. So no matter what you're doing, you can't just put a lick. You have to go, turn around. Just kidding. Okay, so this last one, I didn't do that one. Okay, cool. Oh, I like that song. Okay, so now we have them in G. These are a little bit different. Oh yeah, so this one is the 8th notes, but I did add a little triplet there. Oh, wait. But get that little slide. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so then the next one is the same little thing. So So the thing about these triplets that I love so much, you're bending the note on the third string to match the note on the second string. And then this one is. All right, and you have to get this little squiggle. Don't forget. Okay, now the second one here, or the third one. Yeah, the third one. See how we're only bending a quarter? I know that seems funny, but in the blues we have half step bends, whole step bends, 1.5s, and then just a little smidgen of a bend. Isn't that cool? You can do it as much as you want. It doesn't have to be a quarter. You can go, oh, wait. I just like to be a little sassy and add a tiny bend. You could want to play the, I'll play. Okay, all right. I got one more, and we're running into our Q&A.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a cool one.
All right, cool. So those are fun. I encourage you to write your own. You might have a world of new licks from these scales. And definitely work on a turnaround. So I guess now we're going to open it up to any questions or whatever you guys have.
Okay, so also don't forget, I just want to offer a quick reminder. So starting next week, if you're interested in
let me put the link in the
yeah.
chat. I'll take care of that right now. Go ahead. Talk about it.
So starting next week, we're going to be starting a 5-week course called Blues Building Blocks. So it's based, it's based on the idea of creating a vocabulary of licks for each part of the chord progression. So you have your 1-chord licks, you have your 4-chord licks, 5-chord licks, turnaround licks, etc. So in the course, we'll sort of do a slightly deeper dive of all the material that we did here, but the main part of it is you'll learn a bunch of licks for each part of the chord progression, and then practice plugging them in. So so first you practice just putting the turnaround in, right? And then you improvise doing whatever you want, and then plug in a series of turnarounds, right? And then you start working on what's called a lead-in lick, which takes you from the 1-chord into the 4-chord. So you learn several licks to help you do that. Then several 1-chord licks, several 5-chord licks, and then the process of just kind of putting all of those together. Then eventually you start moving away from playing a preset set of prefabricated licks, and you instead innovate your own. But I think that's easier to do if you have some idea of the mechanics of how something like that works. And then going forward, as you start working on other styles, you'll find that each style kind of has its own thing that it does. So I think the key is to kind of figure out what that thing often happens, and be able to exploit it, and be able to understand it, and be able to do different things with it.
Yeah.
So the course is going to be starting Sunday, July 18th, which is next Sunday at 7 o'clock.
5 hours.
Yeah, 5 hours. Plus, you get a complete a complete set of video clips of me teaching all the stuff, very much in depth. You'll get backing tracks,
and workbooks,
and a complete workbook to go along with it.
I put the link in the chat, and I also put a link to our workbook that we worked out of today.
Yeah.
So if you get a moment, why don't you copy and paste that, or download it right to your computers right now. We'd like to open it up to any questions or comments, or what have you guys been working on?
Okay, so any questions? Let's start here. Any questions based on the stuff that we've done up to now. Okay, so it looks like Rosalind just unmuted. Go ahead, Rosalind.
Yeah. Okay, I have a very naive question because I don't know anything about this. What's the difference between jazz and blues?
Whoa.
Oh, wow. Okay. So,
The sun and the moon.
yeah, kind of. Okay.
Okay.
No, they're built upon each other.
Yeah, there's a lot of cross pollination between the two styles. Generally speaking, I would say that the jazz, well, jazz comes from the word from a from a version of the word jasmine was the origin of the word, and what people did, I think it started sort of in New Orleans, and kind of what would happen is somebody would play a song like "When the Saints Go Marching In." Okay, then the term was jazz it up. Okay, which kind of meant add jasmine to it. So
A
and that was sort
floral
of their
aroma.
yeah. So that was sort of their way of saying play the melody, but jazz it up a little bit.
So that's pretty jazzy.
Right. So
The
that's
blues was around first.
yeah.
So blues came from probably a lot of
I think just starting by singing in the fields, actually.
singing
I
in
think
the
is
fields.
where
It's a
blues
mixture
started.
of maybe the bluegrass. Blues came before bluegrass,
Yeah.
right? Bluegrass, all the country music, jazz, R&B, and rock all came from blues.
Yeah.
Jazz, there's so many. There's even genres within jazz. That's amazing. But
Yeah. As there are genres within blues as well.
I would say a characteristic of jazz is there's more chords, and the chords are a little more detailed, as you can see from our jazz blues chart. I would say the playing is focused more on um, outlying melodies within those chords. You know,
Okay.
whereas the blues, we've got okay, play this over these first four bars, and you can improvise from that one scale, right?
Yeah.
And then some jazz songs, they're changing chords every beat or every two beats, and you got to kind of find your way through the chords with melodies that go with those chords.
Yeah.
So blues is, I wouldn't call it simplistic because there's so much that's rich about it, but I would say the emotional aspect, jazz for me, it's hard.
Yeah.
I've studied it.
So
I am
maybe
studying.
Oh,
yeah,
I think jazz is very complicated.
Yeah, it is,
it can
but
be.
it's beautiful. It's just completely different. But good question. That's very deep. There's probably whole novels of encyclopedias about just that.
Yeah.
So cool. Thanks, Rosalind.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Anybody else?
Questions?
Boomer has a question.
Boomer.
Yeah, quick question. When you were showing those two-note chords, which were the third and the seventh,
Yes.
are those called shell voicings?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's well if
The shell has a root, a third, and a seven.
yeah, typically
Is
shell
there three
shell
notes in a shell? Okay.
yes.
Most of them.
Yeah, most of the time you'll see shell chord voicings where you'd have the root and then the third and the seventh, and then sometimes the root and the seventh and something else, or the third and something else along with the root. Now, to take that a step further, in some cases you'll occasionally see shell voices being played without the root. That's very much a jazz kind of an approach.
Because the bass player is playing the root.
Yeah.
Got it. And then one quick comment for Rosalind's question, because this I've got much more of a beginner's mind than you two, who long expertise, decades in this field. As I'm studying this stuff, I think of the blues as the tension is coming from either the singer or usually the lead guitarist or maybe a piano or whoever, adds the tension with well-placed flattened notes, like a flat third, flat fifth, and flat seventh. And to me, jazz, the tension is in the chords, and the lead tends to kind of outline what the chords are doing. So I see the tension coming from two different angles. That helps me kind of distinguish them. And I might have just really messed it up and made it much more confusing.
No, that was good.
No,
Thank you.
That's great. That's it's actually really useful because, it's kind of true. I've been doing this so long that sometimes I forget that I didn't. There was a time in my life when I didn't know how to do this stuff, right? So it's true that I'm occasionally. And I'm not trying to put myself at. It's like, oh, I'm an expert. I'm not. But
Well,
I've just been,
you are. It's okay.
well,
It's
I've
what
been
you
doing it
Well,
a
we
long
are in a
time.
band called The Experts.
Yeah.
There you go.
But I think the essence of jazz is finding your own way and your own explanation. You can study it, you can learn all the scales, all the chords, but they will tell you, dude, he doesn't have swing, And then you
Yeah.
go, what is swing? And they go, if you're asking, you don't know.
Exactly.
You just have to find it. But that was great. I love hearing everyone has their own way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
Very cool.
I just tend to think of it like, jazz is sort of like, like a tune like, okay, what's that song? You must.
Oh, as time goes by.
Yeah.
Is that as time goes by? I think
Yeah.
A kiss is just a kiss.
that's what it's commonly called. But I think it's as time
Right.
goes by.
Yeah, that's right. And then, and then blues is, I woke up this morning, right?
Rolled out
So,
of my house.
That's how my brain processes it. So, if it's jazz, it's going to sound a little closer to as time goes by. If it's blues, it's going to sound a little closer to I woke up this morning.
Well, there you go.
And then, of course, that's like super generalized if I describe it that way. But, so that, okay. And who else? Anybody else have a question or comment? Okay. Steve Marchena.
has
Hi,
one.
Steve.
Thanks
By
for
the way,
joining us.
this is a master guitarist right here.
I know. We're honored you came.
Well, first of all, Julie and John, thank you so much for inviting us all today, and this was awesome. Just a couple of thoughts. Maybe the thing I wanted to start with, because some people were asking questions about the jazz blues. In the beginning of our conversation, John, you mentioned that you could play a blues progression. You could do it just using one scale, and it does sound good. And of course, you've shown us ways that we can outline chord changes.
Yep.
I just wanted to make the point that you can play over a jazz tune and not play all the changes. When
That's
you're
right.
soloing, you could play over that jazz tune with either just one scale or perhaps three scales, even if there's 20 chords in it. So that's a good approach, I think, to the jazz blues chords that you wrote, to start soloing over it just using the 1, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a great point. We just kind of felt like when we were coming up with the material, I just wanted to, we were thinking, okay, what stuff can we show? And then we just kind of felt, you know what? I'm just going to drop the jazz blues chord progression and just sort of show that. But if this is sort of a blues styled thing, I didn't want to go too far into that. But you are 100% right about everything you said.
Cool. Just two more really quick things. One is, in one of the early progressions, you played a chord progression that went G7 to G7 over B to C to D flat 7. I'm just wondering how you voice those in terms of how you spread them across the strings, those chords.
That's the
Okay.
turnaround.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
want me to go back
Yeah.
and take a look at it?
I mean, I get the chords. I just want to see how you're voicing them is all.
Okay. So the way I did it, so G. Okay.
Why
G-
don't you get closer? Oh,
Yeah.
maybe my light.
Yeah. Okay. So G. Then next chord G7 over B with B in the bass. So
Yeah.
okay. Then C. Okay. And I'm actually playing a D flat 9 chord. Okay. Then D7. Because what I'm after is I want this. On the between the bass note and the melody note. Excuse me. Okay. Okay.
fun.
So if I'm playing a blues thing, I would actually I use that as a way to sort of teach the concept. But if I'm playing it's pretty clunky sounding to try to play all those. Like if I'm playing,
Thank you.
it's a little clunky sounding, I think, for me.
You answered my question when I saw where you changed the root from the low E to the A string. Thank you.
Okay, good.
Cool. Thanks, Steve. Good question.
Yeah, cool. Anybody else?
Who else has a question?
Questions, comments? Is there
Well, I have
anything
a
that you would
comment.
like to see? Yes, go ahead.
I just want to say thanks for everyone. We've never done a guitar workshop. We've done a few ukulele ones. And it's just great to see everyone out here. I saw you all playing and participating, and that makes us really happy.
Yeah, definitely. What's that sound?
Thanks so much for doing it. It was
Oh, no
very
problem.
Oh, yeah.
So, is that? I guess. So before we go, I'm wondering if there's anything that we've missed that
That's
we
right.
haven't covered that you'd like to see covered.
One thing that I saw was the just the fingerings on those blues scales, especially some of the like the ones where you go from like the second position or the and also especially when you added the
Flat five.
the flat five in there. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot more like how do I go from there to there?
Yeah.
Which
Well,
fingers to use mainly? Would it help to have the fingering?
It would help to have some kind of guidance there. I think for me at least.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Well,
I
one
can
of the
I can figure out how to do it, but I don't know if there's a preferred way.
Not what if you're looking at trying to figure out what I tend to do is I'll try to play it a few different ways, and then very often my fingers will start to tell me which ways they like.
Yeah.
So
That's a good
but
point.
the word the way that I tend to approach it is like, okay, like I'm not sure which way, so I'll try it this way, I'll try it that way, I'll try it this way, I'll try it this way, try every way that I could think of that might be practical.
Right.
Then as I do it, if I practice each of them a few different ways, after a while one of them will start to emerge as this is the way that I kind of prefer. But
Like this one's a good one, the number 3, because I'm always a little unsure whether to go.
How to reach for these two.
yeah.
Yeah, whether to hit the.
Kind of depends on which note you're starting. So what
Yeah.
I like to do is try to designate one finger per fret. So
Yeah.
in this case, if I see that there's a note on the 9th fret, but then there's a whole bunch on the 10th, I'm going to start right here with my second finger.
Yeah.
So then I can reach down with my first finger to get this one and reach up to get this one with my pinky.
Yeah.
That might be kind of a stretch between your second finger and your pinky, but maybe try that.
Yeah, exactly. And as she says that, I think that she's exactly right. But I also, what I also tend to do in a situation like that, I will use my first finger at the 10th fret, right? And then
That
I'll reach
works.
back with my first finger to get the 9th fret.
There's no wrong way. Like
Yeah.
John said, whatever's
exactly,
the most
yeah.
comfortable. And, the one you work on and work up will become comfortable, even if it feels a little awkward when you're first starting. These
Yeah.
are totally different. We're used to that minor pentatonic shape, our
And
special one.
yeah, and the criteria that I use to decide is I try to think more about how it sounds than how I do it. Like if it sounds right, and even if the fingering looks a little weird, and other people say, no, you shouldn't be using the second finger for that E flat. It's like, man, if I'm playing the note,
What difference does it
Yeah.
make, really?
exactly. So
As long as you're not like
right, yeah.
knots.
So use more than one finger.
Yeah. Don't use only one. That's how we start out, though.
Yeah.
It's so sweet.
Yeah, very cool.
That was a good question, too.
Yeah.
All right. Did everybody get the link for the workbook? And the link for if you want to sign up for Blues Building Blocks. Very
Yeah.
cool.
So the other thing, there's some wrong fingerings in that workbook. So, but take it for now. I'm gonna make some corrections, and then I'll upload the new one to that same link. All right, I'll do that either tonight or tomorrow. So you'll see it as, I'll probably mark it as Up Your Blues update, something like that.
Yeah.
Or new version or fixed version, something like that.
Yep.
You know, so be on the lookout for that as soon as I get a chance to get on the computer and fix those dumb little errors that I made. I apologize for
I have
that.
some too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we work out though.
Yeah.
But and everyone got my emails, I imagine. That turned out okay. Okay, good. Sometimes you never know. I'm using this system called MailChimp.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad. Thanks, Rosalind. Rosalind pulled out her guitar and she's doing some stuff.
Nice.
Well, sometimes I suppose the plunking notes were kind of the bass part because I could only like find one note at a time because I don't really know any guitar chords anymore.
We
Right.
did move pretty fast through.
But that's okay.
But we'll post the video and then we will also, you have the workbook, so it's worth
Yeah.
pulling it out
Cool.
and
Yeah.
kind of working through things on your own. That's
Should we
how I
put the
learned
video
the
on
best.
that same folder?
I
Could do
may
that.
just put it on YouTube.
Okay.
Do you feel like? Is
Either
it
way.
too big? It's
No.
a Zoom file. Zoom
Yeah.
files are small, so.
Yeah.
A friend of mine said her daughter plays the ukulele or guitar lele. And I was going, okay, I've heard of that, but I don't really know quite what it is. And she showed me a picture of it. It looks like a tenor uke, except it's got more strings.
So it has 6 strings. But
Yeah, it had 6. Yeah,
wow.
Oh,
I don't
wow.
know. I've never
I'm
tried.
not sure what the strings are as far as what note they are, but because I've never played one or seen one. But
I wonder if it's
hmm.
the guitar tuned up a fourth.
Yeah, it's just put a capo on your 5th fret, and that's a guitar lele.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
I
Thanks for coming,
All right.
man.
didn't leave. I've been here.
Before. There we go.
Okay, so
There we go. Guitar lele right there.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. I'll let you
Thanks
know
for doing
when that
this. It's great. Thanks.
video is up, and we're happy you joined us.
Yeah.
Okay. See
Yeah.
See you
you.
later.
thanks
Thank
everybody.
you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.